Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here. Today, we're setting the stage for a really fascinating journey into the origins and the history of a pattern you've likely seen everywhere. I mean, from ancient temples all the way to those modern coloring books sitting on your coffee table. In this explainer, we're going to unpack the incredible story of the mandala art form. Okay, let's dive right into this. Just look at the massive variety of modern and ancient patterns we have here. We're talking geometric stars, soft lotus flowers, intricate interlacing squares, and these big, radiant circles. It just goes to show how truly universal the shape really is. It totally transcends borders, cultures, and thousands of years of human history. But this brings up a pretty massive question. Why? Why have humans been completely obsessed with drawing this exact circular pattern for over 4 millennia? Well, we're actually going to skip the traditional table of contents today. Let's just jump straight in and find out. Section 1. Decoding the sacred circle, from Sanskrit to the cosmos. Let's start by framing this whole topic as a journey. It's a journey from the chaotic, noisy outer world moving inward to a highly focused center. But before we go any further, we need to know exactly what we're looking at, right? Mandala is a Sanskrit word meaning circle or discoid object. But as this definition makes crystal clear, it is far more than just a cool piece of art. It represents wholeness, purity, and the total interconnectedness of the universe. It isn't just a drawing. It is quite literally a map of cosmic order. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we can visually deconstruct the standard geometry of a mandala. It's almost like a giant puzzle. It almost always begins with the bindu, that tiny center point you see, which represents the ultimate source of creation. Expanding out from that, we often find a square. Now, this isn't just a basic shape. It's a central palace with 4 gates oriented to the 4 quarters of the world. And wrapping all of this up are the outer circles. These act as protective barriers. Sometimes they represent a ring of fire, symbolizing wisdom, or even charnel grounds, reminding us of impermanence, all perfectly designed to protect that sacred center. Section 2. Ancient Origins and Early History, Tracing the Sacred Circle Through Time. So, now that we understand the basic geometry, prepare to travel back thousands of years. Our timeline starts way back in 2500 BCE in the Indus Valley Civilization. Archaeologists found the Pashupati seal, which is the soapstone artifact depicting an early layout of a central deity surrounded by animals. Basically, the very seed of the mandala concept. By 1500 BCE, the actual word pops up in the Hindu Rig Veda. Jumping forward to the 1st century BCE, Buddhist monks carry these visual teachings along the Silk Road, spreading the art form all across Asia. And finally, by the 8th century CE, it becomes a fully realized, highly codified ritual instrument in Vajrayana Buddhism. Actually, wait, I have to share this fact because it completely blew my mind. The earliest recorded use of the word mandala, around 1500 BCE in the Rig Veda, it wasn't describing a drawing at all. It was actually used to describe the organizational structure of the text itself. The text was divided into 10 books, and those books were literally called mandalas. So the concept of a structured, circular whole started in literature long before it became the visual art form we recognize today. How wild is that? Section 3. Cosmic Maps and Sacred Geometry, Mapping the Universe and the Mind. Here is where the mandala takes on a really fascinating dual nature, kind of bridging the gap between vast physical spaces and deep internal meditation. You can actually look at a mandala in 2 completely different ways. Externally, it functions as a cosmic map. It's a schematic representation of the universe, cosmic energies, and the celestial palaces of deities. But internally, it's a spiritual guide. It serves as this intense psychophysical tool to focus your attention, guide your meditation, and even induce trance states. So the exact same geometric diagram helps a practitioner understand the infinitely massive universe on the outside and the deeply focused mind on the inside. And this brilliantly illustrates that mandalas aren't just limited to 2-dimensional drawings on a page. They can be massive architectural spaces. Take Borobudur in Indonesia, for example. It's a colossal 9th century temple built entirely as a 3D stone mandala. Devotees literally, physically walk through it, climbing up through the cosmic levels. Or consider Mount Meru, the mythical axis of the cosmos, and the various stupas built across Asia. These act as geographical mandalas for the ritual of circumambulation. Speaking of massive geographical mandalas, check out this number, 55. That is the number of acres that make up the Maklong geoglyph in Manipur, India. It's the world's largest mud mandala. And you know what the craziest part is? It was so monumentally huge that absolutely no one realized what it was until it was discovered via Google Earth satellite imagery in 2013, literally hiding in plain sight. Section 4. The Art of Impermanence, the Tibetan Sand Mandala. As we dive into this next phase, the philosophy of the mandala becomes incredibly poignant. In Tibet, the word for mandala is kyulhor. It translates to center and surrounding environment. It specifically refers to the pure dwelling place where a truly awakened being lives. It adds this entirely new layer of deep spiritual weight to the geometry we've been discussing so far. Let's move to Vajra and see how this builds into one of the most stunning rituals in the world. Tibetan monks will spend weeks painstakingly building an intricate mandala using millions of grains of colored sand. It's intense labor. Once this breathtaking masterpiece is finally completed, it's used as a visual aid to meditate upon the cosmos. But then comes the final step. After all that work, they ceremonially dismantle it. They literally sweep the sand away, destroying the artwork entirely. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth would you destroy something so beautiful? Well, this ceremonial destruction symbolizes anicca, the Buddhist concept of impermanence. It teaches non-attachment to material or artistic achievements. It's fundamentally about spiritual liberation from the ego. Let that sink in for a second. The sheer willpower of letting go of something you just spent weeks perfecting. Section 5. Carl Jung and Modern Healing. The Journey Inward to the Self. Let's shift our explainer from ancient Eastern cosmology over to 20th century Western psychology, because these lofty concepts actually have highly practical modern applications. The famous Swiss psychologist Carl Jung called the mandala the archetype of the self. Jung actually secularized the mandala. He saw it not just as a religious map, but as a direct reflection of our human subconscious mind. So the crucial point is how this works psychologically. Jung believed that the circular boundary of the mandala acts as a protective wall that essentially shuts out external chaos. Meanwhile, that center point, the bindu we talked about earlier, works to organize the conflicting parts of our personality. It brings our conscious and shadow selves right into a state of balance and wholeness. And honestly, this is exactly why you probably see mandalas in your everyday life right now. Modern art therapy uses mandala making to help people process emotional trauma and reduce stress. We see them in mindfulness coloring books for adults that foster relaxation. They're used in classrooms to help students develop inner calm. You'll even find digital mandalas serving as focal points in popular meditation apps on your phone. We are quite literally still using this ancient 4,000-year-old tool to find order in our stressful modern world. Which brings us to the very end of our journey today and leaves us with one final, deeply personal question. As we all navigate the incredible chaos and noise of modern life, what sits at the center of your own personal mandala? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, and I really hope this changes the way you look at the circles all around you.